Welcome, everyone, to the Minions of the Zoo Tuesday edition. I'm your keeper, Skep. With me this evening, I have Minions Prospero.
Hello.
The Harry Channel.
Good evening.
And Runs with Red Dot.
I think a more appropriate would be a picture of Indiana Jones here.
Johnny Hellcat has joined us. It's nice to see everybody tonight on this propitious night, this night of State of the Union, this night of real strife in Ukraine. Lots of things to talk about this evening. Prospero, how was your day today?
It can be summed up by tonight. I need a backhoe to shovel the shit out of my head.
Been watching too much politics on TV.
Oh boy, solid from 9 to 11. I mean, just 2 hours of immersion in that kind of garbage is just it's a little tough to take, especially when it was just a word salad of nonsensical gibs and really amazing proposals. There is some really special stuff in that State of the Union, slurred though it be.
Yeah, well, we'll get a chance to run through that. It didn't exactly fill me with hope for the future either. But at any rate, Harry, how was your day?
Well, I didn't watch the State of the Union, so I'm ahead there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm ahead there, so that's good.
You're a smart guy.
Oh man, I feel like I should go get a job at McDonald's because aren't we going to be making $25 an hour or something now?
Oh man, it's all gravy. Just sit back and let the bucks come pouring in, because if Rashida Tlaib has her way, it's going to be happy days are here again. Nothing but fat stacks coming rolling in the door for doing nothing, because that's the way that works.
Yeah,
that's how wealth is produced. It's just printed.
Yeah,
it's just printed. Yeah. You know, once you find out that the government just prints money.
Well, this is kind of like their version of American exceptionalism, except they've lived in a country that's been prosperous for so long that in their minds they think they can just do whatever they want and it won't break it. They think that our economy is completely indestructible because it always has been.
Right.
But what they don't seem to understand is the same people who are worried about minute changes in the gas chemistry of the atmosphere screwing up the weather and the climate don't seem to understand that they can't just stick their grubby little fingers into the economy and move things around and not expect huge perturbations to happen. Exactly. They're both dynamic systems.
They're both complex dynamic systems, and when you introduce instabilities into complex dynamic systems, usually bad things happen. They're always unpredictable things, and normally they're not good. If they're good, that's quite unusual. Usually it ends up destabilizing other parts of the processes within those systems that eventually have to normalize, and it ends up putting an overall cost on systems like that. And when you have different parts of the system, each losing potential, capital, effort, utility, whatever stored utility is, whatever the nature of value is, when you have a parts of a system like that losing critical momentum losing momentum at critical times. For example, you can really, really retard what was an excellent functioning system, really slow it down. And there's nothing they're doing that will make our economy more productive or more efficient.
Yeah, they just think that it's so dynamic that they can just take and take and take from it, and it won't make any difference. And that's not true.
That's right.
I mean, it is probably a dynamic system. It is probably that where we sort of exist is what you might call a chaotic attractor, meaning that the economy sort of likes to live in a particular spot, in a n-dimensional set of equations. It just kind of likes to hang out in a particular area, which isn't to say that if you stick your little grubby fingers in far enough, that you can't knock it away from there. And that's what they're trying to do.
Well,
25, 15, 25 bucks an hour. Yeah, let's just
try this one on Harry.
Yeah.
51% corporate tax rate.
Ugh.
Now,
Along with the
that will
civilized
largely-
countries of Europe, we're going to agree to a suicide pact. He didn't say suicide pact.
I thought it was
Here's the
21.
thing
How did
about
we get to 51?
Corporate profits have been taxed in this country for so long. The corporates are very good at avoiding that tax.
Yes.
The problem is you never get corporate profit. When you don't get corporate profit, you don't get dividends, and you get what this putative reinvestment, which is really usually just laundering money to get it out to the people who have backed the company, because you can't pay them. You can't afford to pay them a dividend. Pay a dividend, it's taxed twice.
Right.
Okay.
If they'd stop doing that shit, you could have a more orderly.
It's actually taxed more than twice, and I can give you the business school solution to that problem. It's actually taxed about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
But it's taxed 2 obvious times that you can see. Once when it's made, once when it's spent, and but there's nothing about that increases the potential for the creation of wealth.
No.
There's
but it
nothing
does
that has to.
For Johnny. Johnny can open up the duty-free shop, and then we'll go buy stuff from him. Doesn't he get an exemption or something?
Yeah.
Aren't you tax exempt, Johnny?
I am not.
Okay, that sounds like a
because-
bum deal. You should insist on being tax exempt.
Well, I am not on the reservation, so
I knew that. I'm just being a dick.
I was going to say I could be, but
Exactly.
But you don't want to be badly enough.
I'm
be a
not at
pretty
the
good
age where it would be in my best interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, how was your day, Johnny? What'd you do? Anything interesting today?
Not really. Work. Drove home. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's
Is anybody talking about the State of the Union at work?
No, we try to stray away from politics as much as possible, which
That's smart.
is it's good. And then it's funny when we get the phone calls that they try to get our political opinions aside with while they're getting their benefits and stuff quoted to them. I'm just like, yeah, this is how much this would cover at this, and they're just like, yeah, and what about that State of the Union tonight? I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, good for you.
Like we are taught to just deflect with, I have no opinion one way or the other, and I just sort of sit there in quiet, like I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, it's silly.
I guess we might as well just discuss it.
But it's weird how people try to insert politics into situations where they're unnecessary. It's like there's some weird litmus test we're running.
Well, people always like to feel good about themselves, and they can bring up how concerned they are for the environment. That little girl says, "How dare you?" And I understand her. She's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Save me from cocktail parties like that.
Yes. It's just, it just spoke to me. The innocence of a child with the wisdom of the ages. Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
See a ball gag in her mouth.
Oh, God damn it. She's over 18 now, so you can say that. But
I remember when I was still working night shifts, I just pretty much started because saving money on daycare was an important option. And I went to a Christmas party after, because the mother of my kids I had met at the job during the day shift, and then I switched to nights, and she ended up leaving because she was frustrated with how the job was going, and I'm just like, then leave. Just, I can at least cover part of the thing until you find part of the rent until you find a new job. So she got a job at an insurance company that I don't think exists anymore. But at the first Christmas party that she went to, the table we sat at was nothing but six-figure people. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, as soon as I mentioned where I worked, which had the best reputation you can imagine, to the point where I have these people and they're just like, oh yeah, where do you work? Oh, I work at this series of group homes for people with developmental disabilities. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Like, I really struck a gold mine here. Like, I am immediately not liked. Like,
it's just not conversation gold.
Yeah. And like, all these people are just like, yeah, I work with computers over here and I do this over here. I'm like, yeah, I'm a butt wiper that makes like exponentially less than the least high earning person here. So yeah. I barely make 20,000 a year, and then the next one up makes like 70.
Those butts don't wipe themselves.
That's true.
Yeah, but that's essential service work too.
But
I'm where your mother's going to end up when she gets on your nerves. They wouldn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Truth, though it might be.
Yeah. I have a friend who he had this fiance, and they'd known each other forever, and then he went and was hanging out with their, her friends. And, they were complaining about how their bonuses weren't as big as they thought they were going to be, but their bonuses were more than, his salary. And it's like, it's hard to deal with people that are so far up their own ass, with money and money-related things. It just gets to be really challenging sometimes because they just say the dumbest things when they don't realize how stupid thare being or how thoughtless they're being.
Yes. A lot of the people were pissed off at that job and still are. There are a lot of very angry people. Especially now, when I left, there were 40 positions down and losing. Last I heard from a friend of mine, they are 65 positions down.
Oh.
They shut down 2 group homes and a vocational site, and they moved a whole bunch of clients that have clashing. What's the word for it? Educational plans.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, they like to target each other, essentially. And so it just causes nothing but strife. And of course, it sets back everything else that they're trying to help to get to educate and help these people. But
hi, we're here to help commences to infight. Yeah, that's great. We need better mental health in this country. Well, where are you going to get it?
Well, and the sad part is they're talking about. It took them. Let's see. I was making up until I think it was until the COVID. Like, we're going to raise the rates or we're going to raise people's pay to, since they're essential workers. I was making $12 an hour there, and I've been working there for 20 years.
Good.
And it wasn't until, I think it was my 21st year that I was like, like, yeah, we're finally gonna, pay you guys more. And then I was working a second job at a retail store as an appliance salesman. I made more there in 6 months than I did, working overtime at my other job.
Mm.
And
vote with your feet.
I barely slept. It was pretty much double full-time jobs, and I was essentially a zombie.
Yeah, that's a lot. A lot.
But there are people who are willing to get out there and work hard, do what it takes to get ahead. No matter what that is, you do what you have to do to do what you believe you have to do for yourself and your family.
Yeah, when they were trying to decide what was an essential job, me and my friends were sitting there, standing by the appliance desk, looking around. We're like, yeah, we're gonna get, we're not gonna be here. We're gonna end up with those, like the people with that are not, they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna lose our job, and we're gonna get the essentially the stay-at-home pay, pretty much. And then we were told that it was an essential job, and so we're like, well, at least we still have our job. So
yeah.
And then it was quite possibly at the start of it, we were kind of like, all right, we're not going to see many people. It's the whole lockdown thing. We're probably going to have our hours cut short. It's not a big deal. It had never been so busy in that store until people were told not to go out. And then, and I mean, I can understand why people didn't want to, spend 24/7 indoors. But my friend and I were kind of pissed off that, we're in a fucking lockdown right now. We don't know what the hell's going on. We don't know how this thing. It's only been, I think 2.5 weeks since the lockdown was initiated. And, it's like, we don't know anything. So we're just like, why are you bringing your kids and your, dotting old mother who doesn't even know what the hell she's even looking at? Oh, we just wanted to get out of the house.
Yeah, so we go to a retail establishment.
Yeah, surrounded by a bunch of people who could have a disease that you don't know what's going to happen to you once you get it.
Bring your oldsters.
Yeah, bring the olds.
Bring the olds. Bring up your olds.
They should have a, kind of like they have the McDonald's play area for the kids. They should have like a play area for the old people where you just drop them off. There's like pictures of, they like play like Glenn Miller on like the radio, and
or there's a text version of Zork.
Yeah. And there's
pictures of Matlock on the wall.
Yeah, pictures of Matlock and Angela Lansbury and
Pong.
Yeah, they could play Pong, and then they'll have some toys like that.
I'm a gamer.
The dusty old VCR playing John Wayne movies.
The stick with the cup with the string that attaches to the ball, and then you try to, Or one of those paddles with the rubber ball and the rubber band. Yeah.
God damn.
That's a good toy. Let's go play kick the can next. It's
so
I got to where I could do that paddle and ball thing until you got tired of watching me. I mean, I could literally go until my arm gave out and not miss a beat.
That's
it's a rhythm. It's almost like music.
Yeah. That's one of those things that should be impressive, but really isn't.
No, it isn't. It's not. No, I'm not saying it's impressive.
No,
In
I
fact,
know, but it sounds
in
like
fact-
it should be impressive. It sounds like, I'm functioning at the point, the 99.9th percentile at this particular thing, and
Right,
still
yeah.
nobody gives a shit.
Right,
I am Mel Brooks in Blazing Saddles with that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 swings, and then I'm spiking it against the ground.
Yep. Work. Yep, it's a great movie. So, were you selling consumer electronics? Is that what I thought you said?
No, I was selling appliances.
Oh, appliances. Oh, damn. Well, I guess my stupid story won't make any difference then.
Well,
never mind.
Appliances anymore are consumer electronics.
That is true.
If you think
Especially
about it.
nowadays.
Hi, Blind Press.
I am sorry, guys.
Hello.
It's a sore
Glad to
press.
see you. Sore press.
Very sore press.
Okay, have we been working out?
Yes.
Okay, we're not having a good day as a result.
We are toast. We had to sit in a very hot bath.
Until things got better.
And things are still I was doing stretches in the bathtub, and I'm like, my muscles are less angry at me, but they're still protesting.
Yeah, I can understand. I'm a little bit out myself. By the way, Harry and Prospero have kept up with some. Blind Press knew about this too. I had 6 yards of dirt. That may not sound like a lot of dirt delivered. I was surprised by this.
Well,
I was surprised by six cubic yards of dirt dumped in my driveway.
That's 3 feet per. There's 3 feet in a yard, right?
Believe me, I know how big this is.
That's a lot of dirt.
Yes.
I've been talking about this for, I would say 3 weeks. I think it's been about 3 weeks.
That's a lot of dirt.
That seems. I and my grandkids, which is 4 pretty full-size human beings, have moved almost half of it.
Oh my god! And it was put in your driveway.
We've been working on it. Yeah, it was.
So where are you parking?
Well, we fortunately have a long driveway that runs the length of our property. And so they backed up a truck way into the property and left it up there conveniently by the garden. So we don't even have to take it very far. But that's just a shitload of dirt. I mean, this is a big old bobtail truck they brought it in on. And I said, the guy just laughed when I said this. I said, "Is that all for us?" I had no idea it was going to be there. The guy surprised. Yeah, I called my stepdaughter. Oh yeah, we ordered the dirt for you. So you and Mom would have plenty of dirt for the garden. Thanks.
Gee, thank you. I didn't think I needed that much dirt, but
now that said, it's great dirt. It's killer topsoil dirt. I can't believe
maybe you could sell it to Pete Buttigieg and he'd eat it.
Send it to Ukraine. They can put it on that road going into in Kyiv, and then that'll stop the troops.
They could cover it in Chernobyl with it.
Yeah. Send it to Beto. It's magic dirt, Beto.
Yep.
And
it's a Beto. Yep.
Yeah. The
you may be
I got 18
best friend in here though, because he is so despised outside of Austin that he's going to guarantee Republicans get elected until the cows come home.
Then go Beto. I had 18 cubic yards of mulch delivered.
18 cubic yards of mulch? 18?
Yes.
What the hell do you do with that much mulch?
Okay.
It's half the size
Whatever
of a
you
house.
want.
Yeah, well, okay. We're on. This was back in 2002, 3. So I'm trying to remember. I had put in a bunch of shrubs. And by I put in a bunch of shrubs, I mean I put in a bunch of shrubs. That was my first mistake. This is why I don't do things like this anymore at all. And I needed to mulch the beds, and there were a lot of them. This is a 2/3 acre property.
What kind of mulch are we talking? We talking redwood chips? We talking pine? What?
It was pine mulch, wood mulch, regular wood, not chip.
Yeah.
It was the shreddy stuff that you get in the bag.
Yeah. Okay.
The stuff that vaguely smells like vomit.
Oh, I hate that shit.
It's that. You know how raw wood, they'll stack it up outside of grocery stores so people are going to have fires at Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Will smell like, okay, where's the sawdust from the kid that threw up on the bus? Smell.
Yep.
It's just like, so anyway, this stank pile set, and I moved easily 2/3 of it myself.
How
And I
pleasant.
wonder why both my elbows were hyperextended. Because after a while, toting a wheelbarrow, you just let it drop in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And on my hands and knees, spreading that shit. I finally reached a point where I was like, I just can't anymore. And we had a guy cutting our lawn. He started doing it before my dad died. So when Cree and I moved in over here, Mom's like, I'm not getting rid of Wiley. And I called him and I said, can your guys spread the rest of this shit? I can't even, the idea of doing it, just now I kind of shudder when I see mulch. It's because, I had done garden beds, but I had a pick 'em up truck that I filled with the soil and I backed it right up to the beds so I could offload both the soil, and then I got a load of compost.
Yeah, that's a lot easier.
And then I got mulch, and so it was, the compost was the fun one, when you're standing ankle deep in stuff that smells vaguely of goat. But it was
on a good day.
Yeah, but man, my squash plants look like they had been irradiated. They were huge.
See, now Pincalo is thinking of building skate beds because he's discovered that rabbits have made a home underneath the garden. So he's going to make like raised beds and like
that's what I had,
wire on them, like wire around them, because otherwise if we plant shit in the ground, the rabbits are going to be like, ooh.
Wire will keep the rabbits out.
Word to the wise.
You have nothing to worry about.
Word to the wise. Have him dig below the garden bed and run wire through there too.
Okay.
The roots of the plants
below the levels of the mines, but above the layer of the lava.
Yes.
You might be able to keep the rabbits out.
Yeah. And it's got to be very narrow gauge chicken wire.
Yeah.
Not the broad stuff, because they'll just
squeeze through.
They'll be down there with little lighters.
Run about 300 volts through there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like areas with voles and things like, it's very difficult to keep those out even with a narrow gauge. But unless you use larger pots within pots, to plant your plants, and even then the little peckers are gonna. In
our backyard,
you'll hear them at night. They'll be down there chiseling through your pots.
They will, like in our backyard and in our neighbor's backyard. Like there are fucking rabbits and skunks and voles and squirrels and trash pandas and freaking. It's impossible.
Rodent extravaganza.
It is impossible to grow anything back there because everything is like, oh, food. Yes, like,
and hanging stuff has to be designed so the squirrels can't get to it, because those sons of bitches are like the flying Walendas. It's amazing to watch what they'll do.
Just tune into Mark Rober's channel if you don't believe
Yes.
it.
Oh God, it's just absolutely glorious to watch.
Last Halloween,
what they'll do.
We made the mistake of leaving our pumpkins out on the picnic table.
Oh dear God, what?
Before bringing them in to carve. And the squirrels had a lovely meal.
You know what the squirrels ate at our house? They ate the PVC tops to all our push me pull you gates that we had to have because of the pool, and then they nested in we don't have this truck anymore, but we had a Nissan. They nested up in and gnawed through the fuel line, and not the fuel line. They gnawed through the brake line, and did like $1,500 worth of damage up under the truck. Cree was like, I'm going to shoot them. I said, we're in the city and you can't illegally discharge a weapon in the city. He said, it's not illegal to kill these motherfuckers if they're destroying your trucks. I said, it will be for you. You know, but I get you, honey.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we had squirrel baffles for our bird feeders. We had to get raccoon baffles for our bird feeders because we had raccoons show up and they were like, fuck your squirrel baffles.
We literally just had to buy a new garbage can
Uh-huh.
because the raccoons ate through the garbage can.
Squirrels will gnaw on all kinds of plastics. It's amazing how much they'll do. And I mean, you can treat them with pepper sauce if you treat it every day.
Yeah.
And who the hell's going to do that? It's a little bit like the old, we'll spray coyote urine on it.
Yeah. Let me know how that works.
A dewfall will get rid of the coyote. You're better to just go outside and piss on your own shrubs.
Coyote urine. That's how they know where the good stuff is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just, I mean, you're better off pissing in your own line around.
That didn't even fool one generation of those things.
Yeah, and I mean, deer are
They figured that out
relentless.
right away.
And hungry deer will eat all those plants that are on the deer don't eat this list.
Yeah. They absolutely will.
They're like Chinese holly. That's fine. I don't need gums.
Yep.
I wish they would eat my Chinese holly. Of course, I'm moving, so I don't give a shit about it anymore. No, really, there's
somebody else's problem.
Honest to God, the people that planted it there, I don't know why my mother didn't say just dig it up.
Chinese holly, what is that?
Oh, by God, it's a low holly, much thicker branched than a lot of ornamental shrub hollies are.
Okay.
Is that the one with the real tough
spiky leaves?
I thought that was called hogsweed, or is that a different?
This is really spiky leaves. I mean, like, ow, 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 ow. Nothing like the pretty berry holly that's a little bit like, ooh, ow.
Yeah.
No, this is puncture wounds, scratches in your legs.
It's called horned holly for a reason.
Yeah, it's evil. It's plants from China. Just beware.
Yeah, because
kudzu and horned holly.
Hogsweed is from China as well, and hogsweed is awful. It's that big, like that tall. It's stupidly tall. It's got this big bulbousy head on top. It's very poisonous too. Like if
we've had some appearances of it.
Yeah,
because it was something that environmentalists and park management people and stuff were keeping an eye out on.
Yeah,
because they were hoping to strike before it could get hold.
Yeah, it took hold up here for a couple of years. It was bad.
Yeah,
there was a massive move.
It gives you contact. It's a contact weed too.
Yeah,
if I recall.
Yeah, if you just touch it, you have it's worse than poison ivy, poison oak.
Yeah, blisters. It's because they were warning people. This is what it looks like. Don't try to dig it up yourself.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Tell us where you were.
Yeah,
and we'll come with the flamethrowers.
Yeah,
and
that almost sounds like the spotted knapweed ads we had around. Because that was a heavily invasive plant.
What is it? What's it called?
Spotted knapweed.
Huh.
From my understanding, I don't know too much about it. Just that it's a heavily invasive species. But from what I understand, it chokes. It can choke livestock.
Cool.
Like
That's helpful.
by them eating it, or
Yeah.
oh,
And then if it'll kill all the other plants because it's so invasive,
right.
from my understanding. I didn't know
Yeah,
too
just what you
terribly
want in
much
a
about
prairie
it.
state is
Yeah.
an invasive that harms cattle. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Jesus.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, there are
it also
bunch of-
spotted napweed. Isn't that something about that? It's poisonous, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Is napweed poisonous? I think it is. I think that's got some sort of toxicity associated with it.
Noxious, prohibited,
are
banned, and otherwise regulated in 16 states.
there are so many plants that like would kill you if you ate them.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what the Native American name for gladiola is? They call it the horse killer. Because horses will eat a bunch of the flowers and fall over dead from the cyanide poisoning.
Yeah, it's like that warning people about planting foxglove if you have dogs. Because
or raisins also, drying grapes.
Yeah.
Grapes or raisins, but raisins especially.
And it's interesting because beekeepers like spotted knapweed because the nectar
it's pollinated completely. All those broadleafs are
and very very favorable flavor for the honey. But it's nasty.
Oh.
It's in the sunflower family. No wonder it's invasive.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, diploid biennial for and a subspecies is tetraploid perennial, and that's not good.
Tetraploid.
Yeah.
That just sounds like some sort of evil alien.
That's actually happened since the last biology course that I took. I have to see what they exactly mean by tetraploid.
It sounds like some terrifying.
It's a rare chromosomal anomaly, polyploidy, when an affected individual has 4 copies of each chromosome instead of 2, resulting in 92 chromosomes each cell. All right, that's tetraploidy in humans. What is a tetraploid plant? It means the plant has 4 sets of chromosomes. I've never heard of this. Triploid means that the plant has 3 sets of chromosomes. Why the hell not? Diploid means the plant has 2 sets of chromosomes, which I thought was a regular plant. And polyploid means it has more than 4 sets. Okay. How do you get plants with more than one set, more than their appointed set of chromosomes, being as that is programmed into the DNA? You change the DNA, obviously. I'm happy. So obviously it's a mutation. How did they get? How does polyploidy happen?
Is this a natural mutation or is this a bioengineered mutation?
I hadn't heard of it. It's something I need to go check out, I think, and I'll probably leave it
nerd out
for,
on it.
Yeah, nerd out on it. Something else, not frog march everybody watching this stream through the
sheep will eat the hell out of this stuff.
Really?
Spotted knapweed? Yep.
And they're okay to do it, or
yep.
Sheep will eat a lot of stuff, though.
Cows can't, huh?
It doesn't say. It does say that it is a.
It may not be the one I thought was.
Yeah,
I thought there was one I thought there was one that if you ate too much of it, it would make you sick. But
No,
it's probably not this one.
This one, they were saying that it made adequate nutritional quality during growing season to sustain wildlife and livestock, based on crude protein and neutral detergent fiber concentration.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it actually isn't toxic. It's noxious in that it's invasive.
Yeah.
So it's a pain in the ass, not lethality. I'm sure there's some lethal thing that's similar
Yeah.
out, that it's roaming about in the air somewhere. Some bird will shit it on a piece of property. And there we go, the circle of life. This is a far more entertaining conversation, by the way, than the string of non sequiturs that made up the State of the Union.
Nice
God.
segue.
Jesus
Nice
Yeah.
segue.
Very nice
Christ,
segue.
I didn't even.
Everybody, let's just take a moment to appreciate Prospero's fine work.
That was
there.
beautiful.
That was actually
that was-
a moment of great beauty.
That was actually clumsy as fuck. And segues go, 'cause I
But it
couldn't-
worked out beautifully. You stuck the landing. That's the important part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But I didn't
Stuck the
even.
segue.
I honestly, I forgot his address was today.
He probably did too.
Yeah.
Is this what I'm here for again? What am I? Where?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Jill, what am
Yeah.
I doing today, honey?
I could smell the whiff of sulfur when she walked in the chambers. Oh God, it was absolute. It was. Look, there was some opening structure. I'll give them that much about Ukraine and how
Okay.
tough we are on Russia, which is a little hard to swallow because right now financial response doesn't seem like being tough on Russia.
Yeah, we're still buying their oil. I'm pretty sure we're not being tough on Russia.
Yeah, they are going to feel this pinch, though. They're going to feel it. They're actually probably already starting.
Apple has decided that they're not going to be sending products to Russia. They're suspending Apple Pay in Russia.
It's interesting.
yeah.
They're going to manage to piss off the few people that might actually speak up against what's being done too. Dr. John Campbell had an interesting conversation with a man named Vad Vexler. He was born in the Soviet Union, and his family left in the 1990s when a lot of the return to Israel occurred. Now he's a UK citizen, has been for 20 years. And he's equally by blood Ukrainian and Russian.
Right.
He said, which is not at all uncommon.
No.
People would think it would. He said, no. He said, they're not the same country. Their language is not the same.
No.
But there is so much intertanglement between because of the Ukraine Rus. The idea of Russia itself was basically formed in Kiev. And it was interesting to hear what people he's in contact with have to say about Putin's state of mind and what his likely rationales are, as well as what his likely responses are. He's not insane. So for those people pushing that narrative,
no,
he's not insane.
No, but I think he's going to double down.
Oh, of course.
That's the kind of
that was this.
personality he is.
Well, that was this guy's analysis too. He said because he feels that any response from the West. I mean, what this guy said was really fascinating. Putin has a very, very warped view of the history of the West.
Yes.
Very warped view. He doesn't believe that any true democracy exists. And of course, we all hope he's right because we all know about Greece and the attempt at true democracy. True republics, true democracies. But it's that he thinks that it's like a code word for U.S. interference.
Right.
That's all it is. That there is, that there isn't somehow some other deeper philosophical underpinning to why we want governmental self-determination as opposed to autocracy. And it's any attempts to democratize within countries is all a plot by the U.S. And also the fears that Putin might have about Belarus, because currently they have a dictator who is very much a Putin guy. But what if democracy were to rear its head in Belarus? And all this talk of democratic institutions in Ukraine, he considers to be an absolute threat because he considers it to be a threat to his power because of our tendency to like to regime change dictators. Which is a nice way of framing it in Putin's mind. So it is all our fault, which it's not, it's his. As well as that element of, I mentioned last week that there was a certain degree of romanticism in Putin. It's more emotionalism. He remains pissed that Russia was not included in what went on in Kosovo. That they should have been treated as one of the equals, and they were not. They were excluded entirely, and it was in their neighborhood too, is what they felt, and he felt. But it's not like he wants to return to the USSR so much as he thinks of himself as creating a legacy of reuniting traditional parts of Russia, the Russian state, and that no matter what happens economically in the short term, in the year 2400, these states will be part of Russia. He will have increased Russian territory. It's a very Tsar-like mentality. He's not going to stop because we said stop. And it will all depend on how much pressure occurs from behind him. But there won't be much. He also doesn't consume internet at all. Vlad doesn't go on the internet.
Yeah, but he has people telling him what's going on.
He gets précis, photographs, copies, that kind of stuff, but he doesn't trust it.
Yeah.
There's a high degree of paranoia, but it's not irrational paranoia. I mean, it's irrational to us, but it's justified to him. He's got reasons for it, and they're not as irrational as they might
Are
say.
you crazy? Well, crazy people never really know, do they? Yeah, it probably seems appropriate to him, but I think he's I think he's deeply paranoid at this point.
Well, yeah, and I mean, he's created
capable of doing some really irrational stuff now.
He's also apparently a deeply worried man. He's very, very worried about a lot of things. He's worried that there's no set succession, but he's set up no institutions of succession.
Where are you hearing that? I'm not doubting you.
This was from this Vlad Vexler.
So where can you find this interview?
On Dr. John Campbell's station channel. It was yesterday's video. Okay. It's about an hour long. Vexler has a channel. He is he's a musicologist and a student of philosophy, but he's in touch with people who are engaged in free media in Russia. And he still has contacts in Russia and in the Ukraine. So it was more his observations. And I guess personal experience from inside the immigrant community, even though that was when he was a child. I think there's still that kind of network. It's not unlike a lot of what Konstantin Kisin has said about Putin. He's not crazy, and he's not to be underestimated. This notion that you can deal with him like you can deal with anybody else is a little out there. and also he's apparently quite good at wording things to make people believe he's saying one thing when he's actually saying another.
I think he's got some interesting ideas in the back of his head. You know, when he was just putting this thing together, do you know the first people he got to go in as contractors for him? Did Putin? The first people he got to go into Ukraine, who do you think it was?
No
Wasn't it
idea.
Spetsnaz? It wasn't anybody in the government. He went to the Wagner group. You know those guys are? Those guys are the ones who. Those are the guys with the black SUVs that execute you.
Right.
They just show up and kill you. That is the Wagner group is a really a truly intimidating group of people that exist to carry out special missions for the Tsar of Russia. And I think it's about 200 or 300 of them. They're all former Spetsnaz. A few of them are from the West. They speak all kinds of languages. They all drive helicopters and run 50 miles and swim across an ocean, you know, with a wounded comrade in tow. And he went and got a bunch of those guys, including putting together a special squad to go and execute Zelensky with specific tag of going to execute Zelensky. By the way, that squad was discovered by a bunch of Ukrainian unit and eliminated.
God damn.
Yeah. Oops.
No, I'm serious. Like,
Yeah, I know. That's great. I'm just saying.
fucking.
Oops.
They were literally walking down the street, and these guys said, "There they are, hose them down," and they did. They just nuked them.
Pretty.
Yeah, that's pretty special. And
Wow.
part of it has to do with knowing how your enemy thinks.
Oh yeah.
And
well, these guys were arrogant as hell. They literally thought they could just walk in there and take him out.
Yeah, like it was a banana republic of in the 19th century.
They walked into a security area and they didn't even say halt.
Yeah, easy money.
Yep.
Yep. It's so much for that approach.
And as leaders go, can we all just sit in awe of Zelensky right now? Like he had the chance to leave.
Yeah.
People were like, "Hey, we can get you out," and he's like, "No,
I'm a Ukrainian.
I'm not running away. I'm fighting with my people." You know, and I was saying this to my my orientation and mobility instructor yesterday. I said, if this were, you know, say this were happening in Canada, if somebody called Rideau Cottage to offer the Trudeau family a lift out of Canada, they would already be gone because Trudeau would have called some friend with a private jet.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how much of a bitch Trudeau is.
He'd be pushing over kids to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There would
Excuse me, I'm very important.
Yes.
Do you know who I am?
Some officials from the UN would be trying to contact Trudeau to tell him we've got a rescue plan for you, and he'd be like in the Caribbean already somewhere. You know?
Yeah. Zelensky reminds me of that great scene in the movie Patton.
Yeah.
Where
Cuba.
The plane comes in strafing and he's out there with his pistol firing at the plane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you son of a bitch. You know, it's just, yeah, it's it's very much old school. Zelensky is very much old school. He's not a product of the pampered environment of the West. He's the product of a people that lived under autocracy for a very, very long period of time, experiencing a little of not autocracy. I mean, it's still a highly, like, even if Putin hadn't done this, the Ukraine still would be a highly unstable country.
Yes.
With a lot of moving pieces. Because there are always going to be people who aren't too sure about going their own way. And it's understandable. I mean, when the United States, before it was the United States, wrote its little nasty gram called the Declaration to the king, saying, okay, we tried it the nice way.
Yeah.
About a third of our country were loyalists to the crown.
Mm-hmm.
And about a third were agnostic. There were only about a third of the people who were devoted.
Yeah.
The grave concern here with Putin is he is going to go in a lot harder on the Ukrainian people. And when you start killing civilians in large numbers,
That's the problem. Yeah.
you will. The design is to force capitulation, and at some point that will occur. Russia will pay regardless of whether they take Ukraine or not. But this is a demonstration to Europeans and to the United States about quit trying to spread your stupid ideas here. They're all lies, and I'm going to prove that.
I think it's more than that. I think it's also a demonstration of look how weak your governments have gotten.
Well,
not just stop trying to spread your lies, but look how weak your leaders are.
Well, he's not doing it in an election year, obviously.
No, but
a big election year in the West, because that would have
next year is he's only got less than a year for us.
Yeah, except how ready do you think Canada would be to, without some kind of larger coalition, make some kind of move militarily?
That's the problem, is that
you tend to follow Britain.
We either follow Britain or the thing is that
or follow us, which is usually us in Britain.
The thing is that we have such a weak leader right now that it's hard to tell what we would do.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking the Canadian military, because they certainly have a reputation of dear God, will you tell them to quit cutting each other when we're doing close combat exercises and drill work?
Hey, don't piss off the Sikh unit, man.
That's
just don't piss off the Sikh.
I read a comment on an Angry Cops video that said, Jesus Christ, every time we did joint maneuvers, I was constantly having to separate the Canadians in close quarters because they kept cutting each other.
Yep.
And he said it was like, you don't have to actually try to kill the other guy, okay? This is training. But without the U.S. or Britain to signal charge into something, I don't think Canada, even under a strong leader, now the strong leader might be advocating and encouraging the United States and Britain to respond, but I don't think they would do that on their own.
No, because
there's too much of a lockstep alliance going on.
Well, it's not just the lockstep alliance. It's we have a different type of reputation as a military power to keep than the U.S. does, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are not, as a military power, like the type that does what you guys do, right? We're the guys that we go in and we try to keep the peace first, and we go and we try to do like the liberation stuff.
You're NATO types.
We're the NATO type of people. We're not the
break shit and kill people.
We're not the lead the charge type of people. We're the what shit do you need done? We're gonna come and do it well for you. We're not the type of people to start a war, right? We're like, okay, I guess we have to go help these people with this war now.
You're the MPs and the protocol officers.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, I am not advocating for troop response in the Ukraine. I think that is a lose scenario.
Yeah.
What do you think will get the Russians' attention?
things that we're not willing to do, which is not
something
my
that
no,
will
no, no.
something that
we
will
can do.
occur
Something
from
that-
within.
No, something that we can do that would get his attention.
I think it would take something occurring within Russia.
like somebody pulling a giving Putin the Rasputin treatment, maybe perhaps.
I think all you really have to do, all kidding aside, is completely cut him off from the international
Community
banking system. And I mean every bank in Russia. Every bank in Russia, wild mofo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or put something on TikTok.
The
That.
the fact that the Swiss have had enough is
That's kind of scary.
That's kind of telling, isn't it?
The only reason that the Swiss are moving is because the Swiss are uncomfortable with the level of risk. That's the only thing that moves the gnomes.
Yeah.
The gnomes are uncomfortable with this level of risk because they cannot manipulate the world to their purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a
They're the
known
cat-
unknown.
They're the cats of the word.
There's a known and
Well,
known.
There's a known
unknown.
unknown that we probably should bring up, which is the Chinese.
Yeah.
The thing is that he's made this little deal with the Chinese, and they're essentially his. They're, I guess, what's sort of like, like they're like his booty call. If his Tinder date goes poorly with the West and the Nord Stream and stuff, he knows he's got like a dependable bitch that he can call late at night who's going to let him in, and that's what he's thinking. But the thing is, are the Chinese actually going to do that, or are they just going to go, no, I'm tired of your bullshit. Just, go be by yourself for a while and think about what you did.
It would be interesting to see if the Chinese were like, time for renegotiation, Vlad.
Yeah.
Of terms. The thing is that they are capable of forming an unholy alliance, which
Yes,
could be
they
a
are.
clapping pain in our ass because of the large amount of discussions about going off the dollar. However, the Chinese have got to see some benefit to them to being attached to an isolated group like.
Real quick, guys, I need to go lie down and go to sleep, but I wanted to pop in and not ditch you guys completely.
Thank you.
So if I may shill, please come
Sure.
by YouTube tomorrow for the coffee stream. It's Canadian Wednesday.
Functional will be there.
Yep. If anybody does do the TikTok thing, I do my workouts there before YouTube. I haven't figured out how to multi-stream to Twitch yet, so I'm working on that. And then speaking of Twitch, Beat the Blind Girl is on Thursday. So yeah.
Cool.
Fun and games. We'll go get some rest. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate you making the time for us
No
tonight.
worries, guys.
Great talking to you as always.
I hope you feel better tomorrow.
All right.
I will, and then I'll hurt myself again.
All right. Get a good night's rest. We'll see you later.
Have a good night.
Yeah, because Russia has energy. China needs energy.
Yes.
Of course, if China's literally the only buyer that they have, they're going to get a very, very good price, probably below anything that Vladimir is going to want.
Yeah.
Because he's in a very weak negotiating position.
Yep.
He might as well be trying to fence stolen goods at this point. It's not great.
He lost all his strength the moment he attacked.
Yes.
He lost. He almost did the right thing. He should have threatened them with that and then demanded concessions from the West. He could have gotten a lot of good shit.
Yeah, for free.
Yes.
For free. For nothing but a phone call.
Yeah, with nothing but he could have gotten all the things that he really wanted.
Yes.
All he had to do was just not be a complete tool.
Not react emotionally, and he reacted emotionally.
Well, he didn't get to where he is today by second guessing himself. That's sort of the problem, because for better or worse,
making-
guys like that do not second guess themselves.
No,
You're right.
they can't afford to be wrong.
Now, I will say this for Trump, in his defense, as more a businessman than a politician, he actually understands that sometimes you try stuff and you cut your losses. That's
Right.
what a successful business person does, that a
Yeah.
politician can't do. A politician isn't going to change unless they are absolutely forced to. Not of the stripe that Putin is. I can't read minds like some other people can, but I mean, I can say, high functioning people in that kind of position have a common set of traits.
Yeah, and he has very high risk tolerance. And he certainly risked Russia's future. I mean, they are not financially stable. They don't have. They're just not. They're really not bureaucratically stable. They're not vertical. They're not vertical. They're very spread out, and it's.
I don't think he thinks much about us. I don't think Putin thinks about the West very much. I think he is so dialed in and focused into this situation. I think he may be neglecting the larger picture and thinking that it doesn't really matter that much to him anyway, that all this stuff's transient bullshit and the world will forget about it and move on. And, he may be right. He may well be right. Little old Ukraine just sit out there, be hanging out to dry, and we'll watch in horror as, he strings up all their leaders and then says, okay, now it's a vassal state of Russia, and we're going to show you what living slavery looks like.
There is one thing that could get his attention, and it will take a bit of time. Ukraine will probably fall before this ends up happening, but, next time he decides to take off his shirt and ride his best bear to the oligarchs club for a sauna session or whatever the oligarchs do, he's going to probably get an earful from a number of people that he sort of views as being his peers. Because a lot of other people, like your Abramoviches, the guy who owns Chelsea Football Club, are not on board with this at all. I mean, even if they are, they just don't want to see it all blow up. The common Russian people, I have a feeling, are kind of surprised by this, like, we're invading Ukraine. Why?
Right.
They're going to be very surprised by the financial.
But they don't get an audience with Putin. But people like Abramovich do, and there are other people that are being squoze in various ways. That the general idea, meaning to get the word back to Vladimir, that hey, maybe you should think about this. But he didn't get to where he is today, worrying about details like that.
Russia is tremendously large.
11 times.
Just for fun, sometime look at a map of Russia. And that also includes a map of Ukraine tucked in there. You'll be able to find Ukraine. It's the dot on the left-hand side, that you can barely see when you're looking at all of Russia.
But Ukraine is beautiful and fertile and productive.
Utterly strategic.
And huge swaths of Russia are terrible and shitty, minus 40 centigrade in the winter. Swarm of mosquitoes
terraforming
and 40 centigrade during the summer.
We're going to terraform Siberia. It's all good.
Everything's got to be perfect with you, Harry.
But at least the mosquitoes provide shade.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah, they do. Like in Alaska.
And a source of meat.
I mean, Siberia is probably one of the shittiest places on the planet, and a big part of Russia is just terrible.
Siberia. Yeah, it is Siberia. It really is.
Yeah. It's like, why don't we detonate the Tsar bomb up there? Nobody will notice. It's fine.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
They actually detonated that over by Norway. They did it over by the border with Norway. They did that.
Well, you want people to see
the far northwestern border of Russia.
I know.
Almost on the corner of it, that is where they detonated that stupid bomb.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Yeah, no kidding.
Speaking of blazing saddles.
What's that on the horizon, Rolf? It looks like a big one.
Okay, either
morning
Finland
now.
just evaporated or the Russians are hunking around again.
Damn, what must they have thought?
Well, the Tsar bomb was a ridiculous thing to do. I mean, basically, that's sort of like, well, why would you need a nuclear device that big? It's like, because we can.
Well,
I mean, that's all it was. It was just a way of saying, well, we can't put anybody on the moon without killing them, but we can do this.
They had it wrenched down to 50 megatons. They could have let that thing off at 100 megaton, but they were absolutely certain the plane
pilots
would not survive. Yeah, the plane would not survive. Right, the plane would be vaporized, and they said 50 megatons, 50 megatons. You've got a chance. You've got a chance of living. And they said it was the I saw an interview with the co-pilot of the plane that dropped. He said, we really truly thought we were going to lose control of the aircraft. We got moved through so much air so fast.
I thought they thought there was about a 50-50 chance they would live through it.
Yes,
by dialing it down.
Yeah, that they said
that's how they do risk analysis.
A good enough chance of survival if they flew their bomber bravely and safely.
Well, we're going to send Laika, the dog, into space, and she'll be the first dog in space.
Yeah.
But are we going to bring Laika back?
No, burn her up. We'll let her burn.
No. We'll just posthumously give her a medal.
Right.
We'll pin it to the picture of her that we'll surround with flowers in the parade honoring Laika.
Harry, you do not know what that reaches back into my youth. My big golden almanac of facts, which I bought like the year after Laika went up into space, had a little picture of Laika in there, and my dad wouldn't tell me that Laika burned back up, and it didn't say it, and it just said that the Russians had put a dog. And I said, "Was the dog okay?" Well, I'm sure it was fine. Dad knew exactly what happened, but I didn't know for years what happened with Laika.
Yeah,
that still irks me.
Yeah, me too. I'm still mad.
Yeah. It's not as bad as Edison killing that elephant, but it's right up there.
Yeah,
it's right up there. It's right up there.
I remember my stepdad's response when I was talking about when we were learning about the space race back in the day, and I mentioned about, he's like, oh yeah, they put a dog in space, and he goes, yeah, too bad they didn't get it back.
Yep.
And I was like, what?
Wait, what?
Like, hold on a second. What?
What?
Like, what happened?
Yeah, they killed old Yeller, honey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we sent like monkeys up, we actually got them back because we're not complete dicks.
Yep, Ham came back. What was the other one's name? What was we actually spent 2 apes up into space. One was Ham, and what was the name of
Shemp, the forgotten monkey.
Is monkeys of NASA.
Well, if they were themed, they should have gone.
A rhesus monkey named Abel and a squirrel monkey named Baker were
creative.
The first two, and those were reached an altitude of 300 miles. Aboard a Jupiter rocket and were retrieved, both of them unharmed. So America saved monkeys. Russia kills dogs.
Yeah, it's a German Shepherd.
That's why we won the Cold War.
They chose a German Shepherd deliberately.
Yeah.
We show you.
Yeah.
Siege of Stalingrad, my ass.
Killed Bavarian Hound.
Yeah, it's just like got that Alsatian out of the way. God, it's fuck Russia. I swear to God.
Yeah, Russia is so bad that they've actually finally convinced Germany to meet their NATO obligations in terms of funding.
Jesus Christ,
you'd think that would be impossible, but no. They actually convinced the Germans. Oh well, maybe NATO isn't such a bad idea after all. Yes, we'll actually pay our dues this time.
And there have been so many times that I've said, "Could you just please pay us for the Berlin airlift?" Because I hate the notion of having spent a dime on you, Angela.
what is it? Is it grass, gas, or ass? Nobody rides for free. And then you look at Merkel and go, I think gas money is really where it's at with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no payment in kind with Merkel.
No, there's no payoff.
No.
She's so East German. She really
She's
is.
so Stasi.
Yes.
Yeah, she's so Stasi.
Yeah. Well, isn't that? I mean, she's so East German.
Yeah. Yeah, not really the honey trap type of Stasi either. No.
Oh God, no. No. She's not a Bond villainess.
Yeah. She looks like if you were going to draw her,
She's more Ernst Blofeld.
if you were going to sketch her, you would start with a series of blocks stacked one on top of the other.
Yes.
Normally you'd use like ovals, but her head is just another block.
And all angry.
Yeah.
That woman is just a walking block.
I'm glad she's gone. I mean, she's not premier anymore, right? They brought in some new guy.
Yeah, she had stepped down as leader of the party, and
She picked a good time to retire.
no shit. Honest to God. And oh my God, and the EU doing their bit of theater. It's like, yeah, you guys really put the fear of God in Putin. Been capitulating to him. No,
he didn't even. He might have said that.
Isn't that cute?
Time. Yeah.
Well, they're at the committee phase. Pretty soon they'll have a task force, and then things are going to happen.
They're going to start deploring it.
They'll order the stationary.
Ooh, how about a fact-finding committee? They'll get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. Oh, we'll solve this.
Yeah.
God for fact-finding committee.
Ooh, how about an inquest? Man, you could just keep ratcheting up. Just all of the nouns of bureaucracy bringing their full force to bear on Putin.
Yeah, and one of them will say, "Why is the French flag flying over the Ukraine?" And it's a wrong order of stripes, my friend. It's God.
So as it stood a few hours ago, the 40-mile-long line of military vehicles heading to the capital had stalled. And of course, since everything is bullshit now, I don't really know why. Is it they're claiming that it's because they ran out of food and gas.
No.
I press X to doubt on that.
No, there's no chance of that.
I think they're giving time.
There's all kinds of fuel in that line.
Yeah, they want more of the women and children to be out of there because they didn't think they were going to have to go full genocide in this operation, but that might be what they have to do to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he will. That's what people just might not be grasping.
He will for a while.
Yes.
He will for a while. And I actually think that what will happen is Ukraine is one more courageous act away from making it out of this stuff with their country. And they are going to have to stand up to him one more time. And he's going to kill a lot of them. And they have to stand there and be brave. And when that happens, if either he will do something or the nations of the world will get together and just say, this is intolerable. We've got someone who's killing the children. This has to be stopped.
Yeah.
This is a moral transgression that is so bad. This is a genocide happening in real time, and we have the ability to stop it. We're stopping it.
If I knew more as to percentage of Ukrainians in support of fighting to the last man, so to speak.
Yeah.
It'd be easier to calculate how far Putin would need to go.
I was actually going to ask those of you who are old enough to remember the Cuban Missile Crisis. Does this make you feel a little like the Cuban Missile Crisis? It does me.
The propaganda theater, yes.
The propaganda theater and the fact that this is a third country over which we could have a blow up with the Soviet Union. We really could, or with Russia, where we really could come into a direct conflict with Russia. And if that happens, Russia has a bunch of nukes that were tremendously badass 20 years ago. They really were.
Mm-hmm.
They were state of the art 30 years ago, 30 years ago. We will end them. We will just completely end them if this comes to a nuclear conflict.
I don't think it will come to a nuclear conflict.
I think we would own goal ourselves pretty badly. There's
Yeah.
no
there's
no way
real winner. There's no real winner in that, but
no, there isn't.
They would have nothing. They would
they would have nothing, but we'd probably screw the climate so badly that we'd just screw ourselves too.
Yeah.
Well, we could always just nuke and restart. That's how the science.
Well,
works.
we could nuke ourselves into a nuclear winter and then use more nukes to keep warm. That's science. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, the
thank God we're having constructive, realistic solutions.
Just because Putin, well, you say follow the science, we're following the science. Just because Putin mentions nuclear as a tool of war and not as the great unmentionable, I don't think.
The way that this will happen, the way they'll game this anyway, I believe, is they will go to Putin and say, "Stop it, or we're going to show you what a tactical nuke looks like. And if you so much as raise a finger, we will end you."
I don't think that it would.
No,
I don't think it's going to come to that.
We'll see.
I don't think the West will do that. I really don't.
I don't think the West has the right leader to do that. I don't think we're capable of doing that.
I don't think we have the need.
You call it resolve.
I think we've jumped a few steps.
And I agree.
Ahead.
I agree. Yes, I'm not saying we need to do this now. I'm saying that this situation could manifest at some point.
Well, when
that happens, we will be in a position to say we have the ultimate trump card there, because we really do.
Where I was going with the wondering what the actual sentiment of the Ukrainian populace was, is if you go and begin shelling Kiev to the extent where you are causing civilian casualties, how long before the Ukrainians capitulate? I mean, it's one thing to be very, very brave at the beginning of a war when it is just some stuff getting broken. It's another thing entirely to withstand bombardment. And I just don't know how strong, and this is not an insult to the Ukrainians, this would be anyone's resolve is.
I agree with you. I think that's really, can they do that?
If I had to guess, they would not.
I think some of them will stay.
Oh,
I think most of them will try and run. 700,000 people have applied to get out of Ukraine since the stuff has started.
Another couple hundred
people.
Another couple 100,000, and Zelensky will know it's toast. If the numbers go over, if it becomes 2 million Ukrainians trying to get out of Ukraine, there won't be anybody to fight.
Yeah,
and then it's a losing proposition. Then basically, it's grab and go, so the Russians don't get to have show trials.
I want to go back to the thing that Skep said a little bit ago. The thing about the use of nuclear weapons.
Sure.
In my opinion, the only way we're likely to see nuclear weapons used is if one of the nuclear powers starts losing territory. I don't see the Russians using nuclear weapons of any sort without somebody basically going into Russia and taking territory. I think it was just a tactic to sort of scare people to stay out of it. And even if the Russians started moving into Europe, based on what we're seeing here, unless the Europeans felt they were losing territory, I doubt they would actually feel the need to even break out the tactical nukes. Just my opinion, because the mutually assured destruction still holds, and everybody, who is in charge knows that that's a problem. I don't think Putin's crazed enough or ideological enough to think that he can win an exchange like that.
No, he knows he can't.
But yeah, the nukes are the thing you bring out when you feel like you've been pushed into a corner. And I don't see any of the people with nukes being pushed into a corner I don't think it's very likely anytime soon.
I think I agree with you, Harry. I think and I didn't mean to say that it was imminent. What I was where I was going was
I have a button and mine is bigger kind of rhetoric.
Well, no, it's really more in the sense of Putin, having overextended himself, realizes that he is not only not going to go down as a 19th century czar type figure who started reacquiring precious Russian territory that was lost to the West, but instead he's going to go down as a fool. I think he's going to keep doubling down with conventional forces. Eventually, he's going to run out of horsepower, and he's going to look for one more way to double down. I actually don't think he's going to quit no matter what. I pray that he will, but I'm afraid that he won't no matter what, even if it meant killing every single Ukrainian on Earth.
I think you're right.
I think he'll continue.
Yeah. I don't see, like I said, he didn't get into the position he's in by second guessing himself. He's course committed. And short of his own people stopping him, I don't see how he's going to stop. Because, for example, nukes are actually unnecessary in this situation. Suppose he wants to win and he doesn't care what the cost is, short of actually using nuclear weapons. I'm sure they have their equivalent of a fuel air explosive. Something like that.
They absolutely
They could just say, look, your capital is going to be completely and utterly obliterated in 48 hours. If you're thinking about leaving,
cluster bomb. They're already using cluster bombs.
Yeah, but this is like a whole level above anything like that. Just using conventional weapons,
Geneva Convention.
They can complete. You mean to use a fuel air explosive on a civilian target?
It is. It is against the Geneva Convention.
Like he cares.
Well, I mean, I think he sort of cares. I mean, there are some basic rules to this game, and he knows that he has to follow the rules. I wasn't aware that so if the Geneva Convention, well, how did we firebomb Dresden then?
Because that was war. You do bad things in war.
And this isn't war?
No, this is not war.
Seems like a
war. If it was war, the Congress would have declared war, Harry.
It's an invasion, is what it is.
Don't you know anything?
This seems a lot like a war. I'm not sure that semantics are going to save them. I'm simply pointing out that you don't need nuclear weapons to take over this country.
Right.
He wants to take it over. He doesn't want to destroy it. Destroying it is kind of counterproductive. It's not much fun taking over a smoldering pile of rubble.
If a substantial part of that population just shoves the finger in his face and says, "Kill me," he'll do it. He'll kill him.
Yep.
What do we do then?
I don't think.
No. What do you think, Prospero? I mean,
what we will do?
Yeah.
What
do we do
if Ukraine doesn't surrender? We will buttress our defense forces for Eastern Europe and nothing more.
It's too late for Ukraine. It's too late.
They're done.
All week.
Either they save themselves or they're done. That's my opinion of it. I don't think we're going to do jack diddly shit other than bolster defenses on the perimeter of Russia. on the frontier. And that
If
will be
we
that.
made the other oligarchs in Russia unhappy enough, I bet that could be something that would get Putin's attention.
Yes. Trouble
Enough
at
of his
home.
little friends
Trouble at
came
home.
to him and said, Vladimir, enough.
I mean, trouble, that kind of instability within his own sphere could indeed. And it's just figuring out the leverage there.
It's going to cost a lot of people
They're going-
a lot of money.
Well, that's why they're going for the financial leverage.
Yeah.
And the isolation from, U.S. airspace has been closed off to all Russian aircraft. Yada, yada, blah, blah. Going the hard isolation route in the hopes of doing precisely that, convincing the money people to pull the plug on Putin's power structure, I guess.
Well, just,
But it's I don't know how influenced he is by them.
Yeah.
Directly.
Typically in years past, he's like just the boss of all bosses. It really is like a mob setup. And he's the capo di capo. He's the boss of bosses.
Yeah, if all the lesser families turn against the capo, you're up shit creek. So
Yeah.
that might
Don't go out to a New York steak restaurant for dinner.
Yeah. Sitting with your back to the wall won't fix this.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Sitting in the corner did not help.
No. If I had to guess, if he escalates to shelling the ever-loving shit out of Kyiv, it will be, I think the Ukrainians will capitulate.
I tend to agree, but at any rate, what I'm noticing is we seem to have hit kind of a natural flat spot, and I'm tired. I've physically worked hard today, so I'm unless other people have something deeply meaningful and profound that they wanted to get out there, I propose that we call it a night. What do you guys think?
I have one quick thing.
Yeah, please.
I think it's extremely interesting that such a small percentage of his Air Force is involved in this maneuver.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
good reason for that.
Now, the thing is, I'm not really sure we know the reason for that. This is the real head scratcher. One possible reason could be that all of his stuff is falling apart, and this might be the number of planes he's actually able to mobilize.
No, it's nothing like that.
Okay.
No, what it is replacement cost. He does not have enough money to be able to afford losing one single plane. That's the God's truth.
Well, whether it's finance or things broken down, whatever, the fact of the matter is he's not able to mount a full offensive with his supposedly much larger Air Force.
Yeah.
I don't know the reason why, because
MiG-29's coming out at $19 million a copy. He cannot afford to waste those.
Well, they're flying I thought MiG-35s now, right?
Yeah. I
those SU whatever's, I can't.
SU-35s.
SU-35s. Yeah.
But he's probably using the 29s on patrol because they're fast, and probably used as that's probably their interceptor. But the thing is that was built for a style of warfare that was 2 generations ago, and stuff. Even their latest greatest electronics are one whole generation back.
Well, I think a moment ago
they can't do AWACS the way we can.
Well, I think you were implying that their nuclear arsenal might not be particularly well maintained a while ago.
Well, yeah, it's they don't have the modern delivery systems. God knows what kind of upkeep has been done on those bombs.
Yeah, it'd be great to try to launch something and have it just fall over and go off on the
it
runway.
Turns into a dirty bomb, basically.
Yeah.
And
explodes on takeoff. That would be lovely.
Well, there's a reason why instead of the reason you want lots and lots of numbers is because you want to be able to survive a first strike. So you want to have enough warheads left over after a first strike to deliver a killing blow to your enemy. But what they're doing is they're changing the calculus of the nuclear arsenal by investing money and being very public about their use of supersonic cruise missiles. So by creating a delivery system that is much more likely to deliver to the target with almost no chance of interception, it makes it so you don't need nearly as large an arsenal. And also, you don't necessarily even have to maintain it. You just have to have your enemy think that you've maintained it. Because in reality, we don't really know what the state of their aircraft mechanics are, or their nuclear arsenal, or any other damn thing. We just see one test or a series of tests, and we go, well, they have the capability to do something. But their actual capability may be some small subset of that.
Well, our intelligence agencies are too busy spying on us.
Our intelligence agencies focus so much on other than human intelligence now that they don't know shit about what's going on here.
Well, that's what I meant. I mean, they're either spying on us or they're farting around with AI, and Facebook tracking. That it's like they don't know realities on the ground.
Well, if it doesn't come from a satellite or
what good is it?
Or some sort of something that they got off of the Facebook of some guy who was working in the factory. I don't know, but human intelligence is hard to get a hold of. If you can get people in Russia who are willing to essentially tell the people in the West, "Hey, don't start a war with us because we actually aren't that powerful." How do you know?
Yeah.
You just know that. Go ahead.
I was going to say the biggest threat to the United States is white supremacy. So
that's right.
That's why you got to look out for that kind of stuff.
Diversity is our strength. I forgot.
Yeah,
I thought it was right-wing terrorists were the number one threat.
and because they're all white supremacists. It's all rolled into. It's all rolled into.
I was afraid it was inconsistent.
It's so interesting to see somebody like Putin who views the world through power dynamic of entire power dynamic, not power plus privilege, like idiots in academic institutions in the West do, but straight power dynamic. It's what he understands and what he respects. And I imagine that even in his anger and with the fears that he has in what little blackened nubbin in his chest that is a heart, Putin admires Zelensky's balls because
I'm certain he does.
That is a worthy adversary.
Yeah. He hasn't had one in a while by his standards. I'm sure.
No, because the puling, mewling little pukes in the West. Well, look at them. They're going to wage a war on paper. Isn't that cute? At least
that war on paper can have some.
Oh, it can
real effect on a lot of people who.
But rhetoric matters to a power dynamic player like Putin. The ability to play that game.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a worthy adversary in that regard.
Well, that was my question, because I don't want to keep Skep up. I just figured that
no.
It was worth mentioning the thing about the Air Force, because this is the thing that even our experts are going, I wonder what the hell's going on. He's got way more planes than this. Why? Why are they not engaged in this?
He does not want this to be an air campaign. He does not want to lose those expensive airplanes.
He's thinking of making money on this deal. Well, that's not working out particularly well, is it?
He's thinking. He's probably thinking of saving resources as much as he can, and accomplishing his goal, since the financial stability of Russia is in question.
Switzerland can turn his meadow into a minefield.
Yeah.
And if they get nervous enough and they just say, you know what, we're going to just hold your funds in abeyance, I promise you that's going to make a number of oligarchs in Russia very, very uncomfortable.
Amazing things can happen to a 69-year-old man.
It's a dangerous world out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dangerous world out there.
Yeah.
And,
let's go grab a steak, Vlad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to give Putin advice. If somebody invites you to a steakhouse, go.
Yeah, just take your Geiger counter with you, because polonium is a thing.
This would be more like Malenkov. They'll call a meeting and they'll hand somebody else a revolver and just shoot him right there.
Yeah.
You said Malenkov, I started thinking Cherenkov.
Yeah, no, Cherenkov radiation. Nice.
Don't forget your royal tester, because
how many people on this stream know what that means?
I don't think many.
A castor bean for your chaser, Mr. Putin.
Exactly.
Well, given the way the Russians operate, yeah, somebody would take him out, I think, if it came to that, one way or the other. I mean, it's not exactly like there's a retirement program in place. The problem is the power void that would be created because there's no institutional succession built in. None at all. No contingencies. And, he knows he's running out of time on Earth because he knows what age he is. So
he's in it to win it.
Sucks to be him.
Yeah.
He's in it to win it.
Yeah.
It's true because it rhymes.
Going all the way.
Yeah.
Do it! Just do it!
All the way with Vlad today.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
It's just depressing.
In a couple of weeks, we'll know how this turns out.
Yep.
I don't actually think we'll know really anything definitively for another week or so. We just have to. There's just too many things that have to happen. Too many unpredictable parties who have to react to that, and we'll see what the new day brings. I think eventually, if fearless prediction right here, I actually think the money restrictions and the financial things will get tighter and tighter. If that happens, and it happens fast enough, that might dissuade this guy. I don't think anything short of hard money or steel at his throat is going to do it. It's one of those two things. Going to get him to back down. But anyway, that's just my way of thinking about it.
I don't think he's going to back down. I think it's going to take. Well, I mean, if they're going to have to get completely tight lockdown. It'll depend.
Let me ask you this:
it'll depend on what China can offer them.
Do you think he's going to do this for the rest of his life?
Wage war with the Ukraine? No.
I'm beginning to think he will.
Oh, maybe he will. I mean, but he only may have a month to live for all we know.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. He might do that unless he can rapidly escalate and Ukraine capitulates.
Guys in Russia who get the Russian country in
quickly.
trouble get sick a lot. Just noticed that over the years.
Yeah. I never quite grasped what that seed story was about the potential of him stepping down. That was floated out there as.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that was misinformation, it was very poorly designed because it made X to doubt anyway, because it was such a bizarre kind of announcement.
Yeah.
And the
In
fact
Russia,
that it was
sometimes
filtered
country
through,
steps down on you.
yeah,
Sorry about that.
yeah, but I mean, to have it filtered through TASS as well, it just seemed like a peculiar gambit, if that's what it was, because we all went, oh, okay, whatever, you know. It didn't really capture much attention.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little sputter. There was too much else going on in the world. And one other thing to consider is we don't know what the cost to Russia of the pandemic has been. The actual cost, the excess deaths, the displacements, that kind of thing.
It's probably fine. I don't think the pandemic really affected them much. I was looking at the chat. Joel McLaughlin says, all for the Uranian people. Very funny.
Yes.
Gamer Valine was talking about
The
they
Uranian.
let 60,000 people watch an F-35 run supersonic over Poland. We are making a show, of course. Yeah, I can tell you, Valine, that Prospero, Skep, and I spent a good chunk of today talking about different ways you can combine F-35s and F-15Es.
Yes.
F-22s.
With an A10 or two thrown in just
yeah, and
for
our
gigs.
personal love affair of the A10. But yeah, we've got some pretty impressive hardware. People like to malign the F-35 as being sort of in beta. But even in beta, I don't think people understand what that plane is capable of.
Oh man, one F-35 can defeat a squadron of Su-35s. Can defeat an entire flight, as many of the as they have missed before.
Well, it lifts up all the old planes surrounding it. You buy one new plane that's very expensive, but then suddenly all of your
The
older
F-15s
planes
work better.
suddenly all your old planes work better too. It's like it's like free. It's awesome.
Yep. It's amazing, and coordinated with an AWACS or an EWACS. Or both, so you're both jamming the bad guys' radar so they can't even communicate, much less see you, and you can see everything and have the run of the skies.
Yeah,
that's not a fair fight.
No, yeah, too bad, right?
Yep.
And the Ukrainians are they're pulling out all the stops. This picture, I love this picture. Do you see what's going on there?
The hairy.
Because
that is a motorcycle.
That's awesome.
That's a motor scooter that they basically have stuck a trailer on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. We're not too proud to use all the tools at our disposal.
That's right.
Oh God, that's like some of the. That's,
I'm hearing the sputtering from the that little motorbike in Dumb and Dumber.
but I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. Actually, that's what courage looks like.
They might want to rethink flying that flag all the time, because it is a little, here we are.
It's not good for their mileage.
Yeah, that is a wonderful. I love that. The anatomy of the hog.
Yeah. Freedom dispenser. It's good.
I like the freedom slinger.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my contribution.
Baddie seeker.
Okay.
And that's that is an amazing plane. It actually has a bucket around the pilot made of titanium.
Yeah, I don't envy
Nobody
people
thought
who,
of that.
I don't get into envy of people who've been in politics at all, but Ms. McSally, I envied a little bit. Because you just want to make it go once, and if there's some pink mist on the end of that, it's just that much more fun.
Just so we talked to some pilots about what they wanted in a close support aircraft, and they said, I'd kind of like to not be shot in the ass anymore. What can you do about that? Okay, well, aside from taking a huge gun and strapping wings to it, how about we make you a titanium bucket for your balls? That sounds great.
not only that, the airplane itself is hardened all through it. You can shoot that thing, shoot it. You can shoot holes in it, and it just goes fine. Shoot a hole in a fuel tank. The fuel tank heals itself.
Maybe for a set, there's actually an interesting mathematical story surrounding the design of the and reinforcement of the A-10. Maybe if there's time on Saturday, I'll bore everybody with that because it's actually pretty interesting.
I would like to hear that. Now, the A-10 is one of my favorite inventions of all time. It is the crown of, as far as I'm concerned,
the wings on a self-healing tank.
If we wanted to help the Ukrainians,
he said that.
I know. If you want to help he's got me doing it too. If you wanted to help the Ukrainians, all we need to do is sell them about 10 surplus A-10s with about 40 miles worth of ammo, and that would be problem solved.
Yeah.
The A-10 is a problem solver.
that gun is the same. That gun was the gun developed by the Navy for to take out ship-to-ship and air-to-ship missiles. That was originally developed by the Navy.
Are you saying it's like the Sergeant York gun or one of the other ones?
No, it's like a phalanx gun, like a phalanx gun that's mounted on ships. Those were developed by the U.S. Navy.
I thought the Sergeant York was the earlier one before the phalanx gun. I'm just trying to think which generation we're talking about.
I don't know. I mean,
Skep reaches for his copy of Jane's. Yes.
No, I actually I'm looking to see what we had on the KC. I have to. No, this still has the M60, M50s on it. So we got refitted with burp guns, and I thought they were the same ones, but they may not be. Anyway,
it's all just
glass gun.
It's all just an excuse to basically take kinetic energy and transfer it from one thing to another thing.
Boy, no kidding. And it takes a lot of destructive power. I mean, just the trail of destruction that comes out of the front of that thing.
And it's depleted uranium.
It's depleted uranium. Plus, when you see like the thing firing at night and you see the tracer rounds, those tracer rounds are about 1 every 14 rounds. That's what you see is like this continuing blaze of light at night. You're seeing 1/14 of what that thing's putting out.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a solid bolt of light.
Yeah, it's a fire hose of death.
It is. It absolutely is. It just, wherever you aim that, things die. And there's no ifs, no ands, no buts. And that spent uranium stuff, God, the momentum on those things, and the kinetic energy when they hit, it's just amazing.
I found a picture for you.
Let's check it out. There it is. Yeah, that's the phalanx that we had right there. That's it.
Granted, that is it looks like a Lego set, but
doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like R2-D2 with a badass gun.
Yeah. It is.
Well, it does kind of look like a little vacuum canister. They just flaming death coming out of it.
Yeah, technology's cool.
I figured the picture would pretty much convey what
it's a murder capsule.
To say.
But seeing those things shoot down missile drones is something. There's a ton of tape on that on the internet, on YouTube. You can see those guns working. They are very, very awesome. But anyway, enough about that. We'll talk more about this on Saturday. Does anybody have anything else on their mind? Anything else they wanted to get out there?
Not really.
Nope.
All right. Well, listen.
By the way, Rashida Tlaib sounds like a 13-year-old girl when she was giving her.
Yeah, I forgot about the progressive response. To
I did not expect. I didn't expect her to be talking like that, but she
I know.
was. And it really was like, oh my God.
She's not a valley girl, it's a valley troll.
Well, that's why I called her Jihadi Barbie.
So Corey Bush might have well been talking.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not. It was kind of like, hi, I'm from Michigan, but I talk like this. And I was like, oh God.
She's trying to seem more human. It's sort of like when Kamala tries to smile and laugh. It's like, duh.
Yeah, it's like Satan's anus just
that's
made a
bad AI.
terrible-
Bad
I'm
AI.
gonna go off pocket.
Yeah. It's like, oh God. It's bless him. That's all I gotta say.
Talking about F-16 with the finger of God. Look that up. Yeah, Gamerline is not wrong.
The finger of God. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that is. Reach out and touch someone. The F-16 would get it done.
Bing.
For real.
It's too bad the F-22 is so expensive. Just
I
saying.
pick you.
F-16s are fun. It basically is an engine with a seat attached.
Yeah.
And, a few missiles and weapons on board, but that's an amazing plane. It really truly is.
Well, they keep trying to come up with planes to replace the A-10, and then they keep failing. It's like, yeah.
Just build more A-10s.
The
love
F-16,
them.
it's multi-role. It's multi-role. We can totally use it for the things we do with the A-10 because we don't want the A-10. No, we still have the A-10 and we still have the B-52, and there's a reason.
Yes, they work. They work and they're beloved. And it's I know somebody was trying to convince, and it was somebody who had served both in the British military and the United States military. And no, this is not somebody we know. Who was saying, well, weapons age out and they must be replaced. Because there was talk for a while of the F-35 replacing the A-10.
By the way, I was going to just say that the Assassin the Gray posted the answer to my question. The TUES Phalanx does use the M61 Vulcan 20 millimeter, and that's what we had. Was that 20 millimeter cannon also. So thank you, Assassin. Good job. I'm sorry I didn't see your post before. I'm sorry, Prospero. I just wanted to make sure I
was
got
not.
that out there.
I really was not saying anything important. If I had been, I'd have picked up on right after you stopped talking. But, I am capable of doing the and as I was saying.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm a little clumsy, and I feel like I run over people.
I ran out of fucks so long ago that I don't even remember what it's like to have any to give.
We have to stop because as Valine keeps posting more and more insane weapon type things, a moment ago I had to suppress the urge to blurt out, you can use a nuke to make an X-ray laser.
I know. Let's talk about high energy lasers for a couple of hours. Let's do that.
Yeah, really, you're going to get these guys to just nerdgasm all over the stream, and it's going to be ugly.
Block 52 Viper. Yeah,
I'm tethering through my phone, so let's not.
All right, kids. Anyway, we're gonna close it down for tonight, but I do want to thank chat for coming out and doing this. We do this for you, and we never take you for granted. Thank you to my panel, to Blind Press, Johnny Hellcat, and Prospero and Harry for joining me out here tonight. We hope that everybody has a wonderful evening. Try and forget about the State of the Union. Try and forget about Rashida Tlaib. And man, keep those people in Ukraine, keep them in your hearts, because they're really going through a tough time and showing a lot of courage right now. But for tonight, the zoo is closed. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.